Welcome to the Product Goal series, where we'll be interviewing extraordinary individuals inside and outside of product and tech. We will uncover real-world strategies on fostering more meaningful work by setting goals and measuring impact. So in today's episode, we're talking to Jeff Lasselle. He's a site director of a large manufacturing facility of the Fortune 500 company. He worked as an executive for a few large international companies and has a track record of driving impactful results. Hi, Jeff.
Hello, Irina.
Before we dive in, tell us your story. How did you end up in your current position?
Yeah, so I'm really a career manufacturing operations, distribution, supply chain executive. That's what I've done my whole career, building progressively within that framework.
Sounds great. Can you tell us more? How does your team set up goals and measure impact?
Yeah, so goal setting is one of the most important things that we have to do as a team, but also as a leader. And the first thing we need to do is we need to determine goals that are going to be impactful to the business. Let's face it, if a goal isn't impactful to the business, we're wasting our time chasing it. So that's number one. It's got to be impactful if we deliver the result. Now, of course, how do we set the bar? How do we make sure that we're delivering enough? We need to set a stretch objective, not something too easy. So these all come into consideration also as we're moving forward with goal setting.
In terms of setting goal, what challenges have you experienced?
Again, the most important thing is that we're choosing the right topic to have a goal around. But then we need to make smart goals. So, they need to be specific. They need to be measurable. They need to be achievable. They need to be time bound. These things need to be realistic and yet impactful so that when we deliver them, we deliver results that are going to be meaningful. They're going to move the needle in the business. How do we do that? We can have lots of conversations with stakeholders to come up with the topic areas. We can determine from historical data, many times, in my field, manufacturing, historical data is a very good indicator of, where we might set the next bar. We can look at benchmarks in the industry. But again, it all goes back to what's going to be impactful, what's going to move that needle. If it doesn't move the needle, forget it. If it's a stretch objective, but it isn't enough, then that still is a problem. So we've got to consider these things as we set the objectives.
How has your teamwork has been transformed with this process?
Yeah, so if we set the right objectives, what's important here is we build the consensus, we build the team around this, and we start pulling in the same direction. We, as the leader, have to be consistent as to what the priorities are. If we're inconsistent and we're chasing priority du jour, our team gets confused, our organizations get confused. They don't know how to prioritize. They don't feel empowered to take action. And the organization, at worst, we move in the wrong direction completely. At best, we stagnate. We don't deliver anything. So consistency is where I've really seen a lot of challenges in the past with goal setting, particularly with leaders who aren't really honed in on this. So we've got to be consistent, send that consistent message. If the business changes and our goals have to change or our priorities have to change, that needs to be very deliberately and clearly explained to the team so that they can know how do we need to prioritize.
But what else do you feel like a leader can do to help their team to set up the goals?
I think that the first role of the leader is to determine the direction. What's the subject matter that we're trying to set goals around? That may take a lot of organizational conversations with stakeholders, with customers, so that we can really determine what's impactful, what's meaningful, what level might be impactful, meaningful. But then it goes back to that second thing. Once you've set the goal and the team is rallied around it, we must be consistent. If we're inconsistent, we're going to lose the battle. So we've got to be consistent. By being consistent, we build that empowerment. People take action. They feel good about taking action. And again, this builds momentum. And I often liken this when I'm talking publicly to groups. I liken this to a snowball rolling downhill. You know, a snowball starts off really, really tiny and not much to it. And you start pushing it down the hill, and it requires a lot of pushing at first, but then it starts rolling. And of course, every rotation of that snowball, it's picking up more snow and it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. This is very similar to organizational momentum. And this is what the leader is trying to really accomplish. As a leader, we're not going to be the ones that deliver the goal. We're going to set the goal, commit the team to the goal, move resources around, but most importantly, build that organizational momentum so that we can deliver the goal.
What other advice could you give to the teams related to creating impactful work?
Yeah, I think that one of the other areas where people sometimes don't do a great job in setting the objective, you know, they think about SMART and they go through that analysis and, okay, is this a SMART goal or is it not a SMART goal? And they look at data and they whatnot, but they miss that piece of what does the business need? If you deliver the goal and it doesn't deliver the business need, you've done nothing. And often I see people setting a goal based on what they think they can do. I caution leaders. Okay, so there's a double-edged sword here. I caution leaders about setting too mild a goal. Your team can accomplish more than they think they can accomplish. They can accomplish more than you think right now they can accomplish. So let them accomplish it. Give them an objective that's going to stretch them to accomplish it and achieve the business need. You know, in addition to that message about consistency, which I'm going to keep driving that because that is really a key about goal delivery. I think that setting the goal so it solves the business need is really critical. And far too often I've seen in my own field, manufacturing or distribution or supply chain, where the goals are set on capability. We need to be transparent about the risks. You know, what are we trying to get to? What are the risks if we don't get there? What are the risks if we commit to get there and we don't get there? These are things that really need to be lined out ahead of time and understood by stakeholders as well as by the team. And then just be transparent about that as we go forward. But, you know, in my career, I think I can very clearly say that the goal accomplishments that I've been the most proud of were the ones where when I initially talked to the team and said, hey, guess what, guys? This is what we need to do. They looked at me like I was crazy. You know, in one case asking me, what? Jeff, are you on drugs? We've tried this for 10 years. We can't do this. We can do this. We deploy the right resources. We use the right tools. And we build that consistent message and that organizational momentum to deliver the result.
Got it.
And I've been very pleased and proud of my teams over the years to deliver things that, frankly, initially they didn't think they could.
Got it. Well, thank you so much, Jeff, for sharing your expertise with us. It was really valuable. And I really enjoyed our conversation.
Thank you, Irina. I really enjoyed it too. And thank you a lot.
Great. And to our audience, stay tuned for more episodes.